This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. And games like this make it a little bit sweeter as the Rays pick up a huge series victory over the Houston Astros. They win 8-4. And this one, we're going to talk about how good Taj Bradley was after the first inning. We're going to talk about how the home run ball is alive and well at Steinbrenner Field. We're going to look ahead to the Rays series against the Blue Jays. But first, we're going to talk about the offense really getting going, maybe starting to get going a little bit at Steinbrenner.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Before we get to that, if you guys are in the live, make sure you leave a like and comment. Like always, we will get to it at the end of the live. So, like everyone, I think when they went up, it was 2-0 before, the two batters into the game. That's Isaac Paredes is going to turn into just a Rays killer, I guess. But I'm happy to see him, succeeding in his new spot. And then the Rays, it was so crucial. They immediately got it back. They got on Hunter Brown early, which I think we touched on yesterday. Need to get on him early, and that's what they did. So, it starts with Yandy with the first pitch, getting up. And then, Hunter Brown is an emotional pitcher. You could see a bunch. He was yelling at himself. He was angry. And I think that kind of got him out of sorts a little bit because then it just kind of started to unravel from the heads-up base running by Yandy as he got to second on the almost home run by Josh Lowe. And then Aranda drives him in. But I think the turning point was the at-bat after, two at-bats after Jonathan Aranda.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I think it's a Chandler Simpson RBI single because for the Rays to be able to tie the game after getting down again to the Astros for the third straight day and then being able to come back and tie it again, I thought that was a huge point of the game. And obviously you can go to Yandy's home run in the 8th, but that to me calmed everything down. It said, okay, this Hunter Brown guy is only giving up like 2 runs over his last 5 outings or whatever the stat was, and have been able to get on him early when he's been so dominant. I mean, guys, we talked about it yesterday, but if you guys didn't listen yesterday, here was Hunter Brown's game log coming into this game. 1 run, 0 runs, 3 runs, 1 run, 0 runs, 0 runs, 0 runs, 2 runs. That's a lot of zeros. And the 3 runs was against the White Sox. So, everyone kind of has that outlier of a game, but he has been dominant lately. And the Rays got on him early, and then they had the consistent pressure, and that's where we're going to get to the home run ball. And, how good was it to see Curtis Mead? He's been really putting together some good at-bats lately. How good was it to see him get one against a righty? And before we get to all these home runs, every single one of these home runs came on the first pitch. Curtis Mead's home run on the first pitch. Josh Lowe's home run on the first pitch. Brandon Lowe, by the way, who deserved that home run because he hits the ball harder than anyone, and it's always ends up being an out. So he deserves a fluky 320-foot home run. Yandy, that just tape measure shot on the first pitch. So the Rays attacking early, that might have been something to scout with him, or they followed it to a T. It started with Curtis Mead and just another huge shot for him. Again, just so happy for Curtis Mead that he was able to, get that going and continue to put, and then the next at bat, he laced a single up the middle. So again, the lineup depth is going to be so crucial for the Rays, and it's going to be good if guys like Curtis Mead can keep that going. And then Josh Lowe and Brandon Lowe go back-to-back again on the first pitch. They do that in the bottom of the 5th inning. And then, again, then you start to say, okay, here they come. Can the Rays sustain this lead? Because the first thing I thought was like, man, they blew a 3-run lead to the Phillies. It was either a 2 or 3-run lead to the Blue Jays. Can they sustain it? But again, good to see those guys at the top of the order going. As much as we talk about lineup depth, you need your top guys to be your top guys, and the top guys were the top guys today. The top 3 guys in the order today had a home run. So those are your top guys being your top guys. And then, Cameron Meisner, I thought, made a great catch in the top of the 6th. That diving catch, Taj Bradley's lost kind of last inning there. It was huge for Cameron Meisner to get that. As he played a really sneaky good center field. As then everything kind of starts to unravel a little bit. As Uceta gives up the 2 home runs. Again, his stuff just does not look good. The Paredes one, he just hung a slider, and it was just destroyed. The slider changed up whatever off speed it was. So nothing that more you can expect there. And then the Rays' best hitter, you can argue Jonathan Ronda, but if you look over a tenured time, it's Yandy Diaz. And his 800th game, today was Yandy Diaz's 800th MLB game, and he just absolutely obliterated that ball. And it was a tape measure shot, 435 feet. It was huge. Just a massive, massive home run. So, yes, there are things to be concerned about with Uceta. Again, I don't think he's going to be in those high lever spots anymore, which sucks because he was so good last year. But man, he's going through some stuff right there. But yeah, there's some other stuff that really stood out to me. And we talked about the Rays. The Rays were the first team to score 4 or more runs on Hunter Brown this year, and the Rays have kind of notoriously struggled against those high end pitchers, right? But they were really able to get it going today. The Rays were really good on the base pass, and until Chandler Simpson kind of got picked off second, but they were running all over the Marlins last series, now the Astros this series. And I thought Curtis Mead played like a really good third base as well. He had a few really nice plays over there. He came up mostly as a third baseman. He's played second and first a little bit too. But we're going to talk about Taj Bradley, and we're going to talk about who the player of the game is right after this. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at Monarch Money for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. So again, guys, if you guys are in the comments, make sure to leave a comment. We will get to them like we always do at the end of the video. So let's talk about Taj Bradley because he is our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I really did want to give it to Curtis Mead because I thought he was really good as well today. But Taj Bradley, the way he was able to settle in after that chaotic first inning, I thought was really, really good. And the thing that stood out to me, his curveball was working today. That big bender, the big 12-6. He was getting at the top of the zone. He was getting people to chase on it as well. So it was just absolutely huge for Taj to get that going. And after the first inning, a lot of soft contact too that I noticed. Sure, a few balls got hit in the outfield, but that ball was flying today. So Taj, in a hitter-friendly ballpark on a hitter-friendly day, really limited the hard contact and 7 strikeouts for Taj. We talked about Taj a little bit, kind of like some of the other Rays pitchers. He didn't have his strikeout stuff for a majority of the year. So, but now, like we talked about against Arizona, Kansas City, and New York, he had a combined 6 strikeouts. And before that against the Yankees again, he only had 3 strikeouts. So he went a 4-game stretch, 3 strikeouts, 2 strikeouts, 1 strikeout. And now his last 3 games have been 5 strikeouts, 6 strikeouts, and now 7 strikeouts. So he's really starting to kind of get that back going because he's another guy who is, you guys remember, Taj is still so young. He's going to keep improving as he gets going. So just really good to see him, kind of really start to get that going. So to speak on how good the Rays were at pitching, even though they gave up 4 runs, is the Astros did not have a runner in scoring position today, which is kind of shocking when they see you put up 4 runs. But you got to think about it. The Isak home run came with someone on first base, and the other 2 were just solo home runs. So the Rays really did a good job of keeping people off the base pass. And, if you're going to give a home run, this is what Zach Littell always does. He gives up the solo home run, so it doesn't hurt as much. So, I thought the Rays were really good in that regard. So, like I said, Taj Bradley, really impressive after that first inning, and good to see that strikeout number getting back to what it should be with a guy with his caliber of stuff. So, look, we talked about it yesterday. I thought the Rays should just come out and, the last 2 games, they kind of got those chances, right? They got those, not fluke things, but they took advantage of opportunities yesterday. And Monday, they had the chances to it well. Today, they just outplayed the Astros straight up. They were the better team today, which I thought is super encouraging to see. And, they got another series win at home. They beat the Brewers at home for a series win, and now they beat the Astros at home. So, and the Rays have struggled against the Astros, guys, since they beat them in the 2020 ALCS. So again, just really good to continue to get that going because it was all doom and gloom after Monday that the Rays are never going to win again and all that stuff. But, it was really good to see them start to get going. So now we're going to get to the comments. So if you guys have a comment, drop it in. We will get to it like we always do. As we start with Gary, this offense showed a lot of resiliency and coming back to offset the Isak Brady's home runs. Lowe and behold, Josh and Brandon go back-to-back, and Yandy has some big insurance runs with a massive home run. Yeah, I mean, not normally how the Rays win, right? The Rays aren't going to hit 4 home runs in a game that often, even though I think this was the 3rd time they've done it this year. They did in Toronto, did it one other time. They're going to win how they do most of the time with defense and being on the base paths. I was listening to the pregame show on the radio, and Todd Callis, who was kind of an icon for me growing up watching. It was a Sun Sports back then. If you guys remember the old channel before Bally and FanDuel, and Todd Callis was like the sideline guy, and he went on and talked about how the Rays make you play perfect. If you have a mix up in the outfield, if you walk a batter, that's how they make you pay. And the Rays really did start to make them pay. I see, I love Legos in here. Talk about me starting to turn the corner. Yes, I agree with that. And I say, Nuzzy saying that Cash fired those boys up. Yeah, really weird ejection with Kevin Cash. He got ejected because he ended up being right. So it was interesting to see. So as we go to Preston, PBW, after making Cal Quantrill look like a Cy Young pitcher, very refreshing to see them take on Hunter Brown and get a very convincing W. I agree. It was we've talked about the Rays' struggles with the bats, and that's kind of how baseball is. Cal Quantrill is one of the worst starters in Major League Baseball, and then the Rays come through. He looks like Cy Young, and then the Rays look like the 2001 Yankees lineup against Hunter Brown, who was the best pitcher in baseball coming into this game. So that's just how baseball is, and it's good to see that get going. As we go to Chris Meeks, he goes, "That's how a win is supposed to feel. If we win Friday, that's called a winning streak." I agree. I mean, the Rays haven't won 3 in a row. I don't think since they won 5 in a row. I could be wrong on that, but they mostly haven't won more than 2 in a row in a little bit. So yeah, definitely definitely need to get that win streak started. But of course, the Blue Jays yesterday, it was starting to be named, and now of course they're starting to lefty on Friday. So it is the book's out on the Rays, but after that it's 2 righties. So just keep winning series. That's all you can do if you're the Rays. Keep on winning series. As we go to it's Cat who goes, "I've never seen Cash that heated before." Yeah, he was hot. So if you guys missed it, Kevin Cash went out in the top of the 8th inning after you said to give him 2 home runs. The guy kind of checked his swing. He went around, but it hit off the knob of his bat, but it hit his hand first. So it's a hit by pitch. So if you swing and you get hit by the pitch, you're out, right? And when there's 2 strikes. And Kevin Cash was heated because I think they said that they were gonna review it. And but Kevin Cash basically said the guy on first said he was out, and then they reviewed it, and then Kevin Cash ended up being right. So it was weird because Kevin Cash got ejected for being right, which was really interesting. And it was weird because you're right, Kevin Cash never gets seated like that, and they even said in the broadcast that most managers do it for show, right? Like the Brewers manager was it that always gets ejected against the Rays. So yeah, it was really weird. As we go to Augusta, he goes, "Feels like the Rays might have a lucky charm in town for their homestand, playing better and winning." Yeah, this well documented after how bad the Rays were at home for a majority of the year. But think about series win against the Brewers, the last homestand before the last road trip. They open up this 9-game homestand with a series win. So again, just keep stacking those wins. Keep trying to get to that 500 mark before Hysom King, Shane McClanahan, all those other guys come back. And again, you guys were talking about it a little bit in the comments, but the AL, there's not any like world beaters there, right? I mean, it's really just Detroit's really good in the Central, but the Yankees have won a few in a row too. But it is it's early, man. If the Rays can just keep winning series, maybe go on a little win streak here. I'm not asking them to do what the Twins did, but win 4 in a row, right? Win 7 out of 9, win 9 out of 12. That's the type of run the Rays need to go on to really kind of get back and feel comfortable. Go, and then when the guys come back, they can really just take off from there. As I love Legos kind of touches on that. He says, "Wait till Kim comes back; it's going to be dangerous." As but Jose Caballero has been really good, and Curtis Mead again today. He's been showing more promise. It's just a guy that never gets any at bats. It was same with Christopher Morel, guys that just don't really get at bats. because the Rays predominantly face righties. But both those guys will be in the lineup against the lefty tomorrow. So I think it's going to be good for Curtis Mead to face or to be in the lineup for 4 straight games, like he's going to be in after he starts on Friday, because the Blue Jays are pitching a lefty. So let's quickly bolt to that game, preview that game, as it'll be Drew Rasmussen taking on, as it says, undecided here, but the Blue Jays are pitching a lefty. He was 1-0 with a 2.23 ERA. I'm blanking on his name right now, but so we have Drew Rasmussen going, who's been the best pitcher for my money on the Rays this year. You have another lefty coming up, but the Rays have really shown strides against lefties, which has been really encouraging. As we go to Michael Townley, he says Kevin Kelly and Mangum are starting to rehab in Durham. What do you think happens with Mangum? Who is sent down for him, if anyone? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because Mangum's going to come up and he's going to play. So I still think Curtis Mead is the first one to go down. And then after that, I really don't know what they're going to do, because you're not going to send Simpson down. Meisner is interesting because he's been basically your everyday center fielder for a majority of the year. And then, you just keep on going down the list. Like Morel probably isn't going to go down. You invested a lot in getting him, and he's more evident today with Isak hitting another 2 home runs. So, yeah, I mean, they could send a pitcher down, but the Rays normally like to carry, have an abundance of pitchers. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the Rays do when Magnum does come back. As Gary comments, says, how do you feel about the possibility of the MLB implementing the ABS system? That's the automated balls and strikes. I am for it, but in the way that they have it. So, like I said, every team gets it, just like in football. Every team gets one challenge. If you get the challenge right, then you get another one. So you don't get more than 2 per game. Because I think a human element in baseball is still such a big part of the game. So it really makes you strategize. If you think a pitch is borderline in the first inning, you call it and it's not there, then you don't have it for the rest of the season. So it would, it depends how it is implemented. I Love Lego says, what's the situation with DeLuca? He had another setback. He's not going to be back anytime soon. It looks like, which is tough for him. This was kind of supposed to be his year. As go to It's Cat again, he goes, Meisner's defense has been spectacular lately. Even in a slump, he's still providing value. Yeah, which is going to make it even more interesting to see what the Rays do when they do get all their guys back. But, that's a conversation for another day, as, the Rays really pick up just a huge series win. We talked about it after the tough series loss to the Marlins. You go back and you look at this Rays schedule now, guys. I know that the losses are a little bit like louder than the wins, I guess, but they won after they got swept by the Phillies. They won the series against Milwaukee, won the series against Toronto, lost the one. They've won 3 of the last 4 series, so it's very easy to be pessimistic, especially the way that they lost 2 of the games to the Marlins. But if you look at it from a broader sense, they're 3 games under 500 going into having 6 more games at home. It's not crazy to say that, the Rays should be 500, go 6 or go. Oh, that would be something, but it wouldn't be crazy to see the Rays go 6-3 on this homestand when it's all said and done. So they're 2-1 right now. If they go 2-1, the rest of these 2, if they win the rest of these series at home, you're looking at the 6-3 homestand. That would be really nice for the Rays, again, as they just got to take advantage of these opportunities like the Rays did today. So again, really good to see the Rays get after a top level pitcher. Really good to see the top dogs in the lineup really get to work for all together. Really, for I don't know a time where those top 3 were really all hitting at the same time like they were today, mostly because of injuries and whatnot. But yeah, and then really good to see the depth with Curtis Mead. I thought Cabby again has some more really good at bats. And then you just kind of feel for Ben Rortvedt at this point. I mean, he just looks kind of overmatched up there. But again, lineup depth is huge for the Rays. Starting pitching, which has been really good. The starting pitching, outside of a few of the Miami games, they were really good against the Brewers, and now they've been really good against the Astros. And then in the bullpen outside of you said today has also been really good this series as well. So gonna be really interesting to see how this Rays team kind of can capitalize on this momentum going into a big series against the Blue Jays. I mean, Blue Jays just have, I think a game and a half up on the Rays. So the Rays can continue to make ground after winning the series up there in Toronto. So we're going to end it there. Again, Rays win the series 2-1. They win the game 8-4. Again, huge win. Offense gets going. Taj Bradley was fantastic. And that'll be the end of this one. Off day tomorrow. Then they play Friday night at Steinbrenner. Again, let's see if the Rays can capitalize on this momentum. If you guys are in the live and haven't liked the video yet, please like the video. If you guys watch the replay all the way to the end, please like the video and comment. Make sure you guys send it to someone as well. And then we will see you guys on Friday night, hopefully after another race.